You want to know the secret. You've been told it's hard. You've been told it's complicated. But here's the truth. Talking to women is easy if you stop treating them like a puzzle you need to solve. Now, let that sink in for a moment. Because right there, that is where everything shifts. We've all been there, standing in front of someone, paralyzed by the thought of saying the wrong thing, scared of being misunderstood. But here's what I need you to hear. The only thing that makes talking to women hard is the belief that it's hard. There is an incredible power in being real, in showing up as your true self, unfiltered and unapologetic. We live in a world that teaches us to wear masks, whether they are built from fear, expectations, or societal pressures. It's exhausting, right? Always trying to be what others want us to be, or worse, pretending to be something we're not. But here's the truth. Authenticity is the most magnetic force you can wield in any conversation. You don't need to craft the perfect response or have every answer figured out. What you need is the courage to speak from a place of truth, to stop hiding behind a facade and start showing up with the raw, unpolished version of yourself. Imagine a conversation where you don't have to put on a show, where you can just be real. It's liberating. When you stop trying to impress and instead focus on connecting, something extraordinary happens. The connection becomes deeper, more meaningful, because it's rooted in authenticity. You're no longer concerned with playing a role or managing an image. You're simply allowing the real, unguarded version of you to step forward. And when that happens, others feel it. Authenticity is contagious. It creates a space where trust can grow, where vulnerability can be shared without fear of judgment. This isn't just a nice idea. It's a truth that transforms the way we communicate. Think about the people in your life whom you admire. Why do you admire them? Chances are, it's not because they are perfect or because they always have the right words. You admire them because they are themselves, and unapologetically. They show up as they are, and that rawness is what makes them magnetic. Authenticity attracts authenticity. When you are authentic, you create the space for the other person to do the same. This isn't just about saying the right things or performing in a way that fits a mold. It's about stepping into your own skin, being comfortable in it, and letting that comfort be the foundation of your interactions. Now, let's talk about how authenticity feels when it's missing. Have you ever had a conversation where it felt like the person was just going through the motions? Where it felt like they were saying the things they thought you wanted to hear, but it didn't feel real. That's what happens when we hide behind masks, when we wear a persona that's not aligned with who we truly are. It's exhausting, isn't it? Both for us and for the person on the other end of the conversation. People can feel when something's off. When we aren't being real, the connection suffers. There's an invisible barrier between us and others, and no amount of perfect words can ever break that down. When you aren't authentic, you are sending the message that you aren't willing to be vulnerable. And if you aren't willing to be vulnerable, you can't truly connect. What does it mean to be authentic in a conversation? It means showing up with your own truths, even if they aren't perfect or polished. It means admitting when you don't have all the answers and being open to learning from the other person. It means not being afraid to share your struggles, your fears, and your triumphs without the fear of judgment. Because let's be real, we all have our stories, our baggage, our scars, our experiences that shape us. Authenticity allows you to share these things without the need to hide them or downplay them. It means embracing the beauty of imperfection and not being afraid to let others see that part of you. Because the truth is, nobody is perfect, and that's what makes us relatable. The vulnerability required to be authentic is where real strength lies. It takes courage to let go of the mask and show up as you truly are. It's much easier to stay behind a wall of pretense and self-protection. But the magic happens when you choose to let down those walls and stand in your own truth. That's when connection shifts from surface level chatter to something much deeper. When you allow yourself to be authentic, you free the other person to do the same, and that exchange, that's where the real conversations happen. It's not about impressing or performing, it's about connecting, heart to heart, soul to soul. And when that happens, it changes everything. What does authenticity do for you in the long run? It builds real, lasting relationships. It attracts people who value you for who you truly are, not for the image you project. It creates an environment of trust where both parties can be themselves without fear of rejection or judgment. And most importantly, it frees you. It frees you from the exhausting, never-ending cycle of pretending. When you embrace your authentic self, you embrace the power that lies within you. Asterisk, asterisk. And when you do that, conversations no longer become something you have to struggle through. They become a natural, flowing exchange of ideas, experiences, and truths. Asterisk, asterisk, it's in that space where the most powerful connections are made. You may think that to have a meaningful conversation, you need to have the perfect words ready to go. You think you need to respond with just the right thing, and if you don't, then you risk making things awkward or worse, losing connection. But I want you to stop right there and think about this. Asterisk, asterisk, listening is the most important part of communication, asterisk, asterisk. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you hear. So often, we focus so much on having the right response that we forget the most important element of any conversation: understanding. When you listen with intention, when you truly hear the other person, not just their words but the meaning behind them, asterisk, you create the foundation for a real connection, asterisk. And when you do that, everything else falls into place. Listening is an active process. It requires your presence. Asterisk, asterisk, being truly present in a conversation means you are giving the other person the gift of your full attention. Asterisk, asterisk, too often, we're distracted by our phones, by the thoughts racing through our heads, or by the urge to interject and prove a point. But true listening isn't about hearing words, it's about understanding the person speaking. It's about being fully attuned to what they are trying to communicate, whether it's through their words, their tone, their body language, or their silence. When you're actively listening, you're not waiting for your turn to speak. You're giving your complete focus to the other person. Asterisk, asterisk, and when they feel that, it opens the door for something deeper to unfold. Asterisk, asterisk, think about the last time someone really listened to you, asterisk, not just heard you, but really listened, asterisk. How did it feel? I can tell you, it probably felt like a weight had been lifted. Like for a moment, you didn't have to fight to be understood. That's the power of true listening. It's not about waiting for your chance to respond or make a witty remark. It's about giving someone the space to express themselves freely, knowing they are being heard and valued. Asterisk, asterisk, when you listen deeply, you acknowledge the other person's experience, and that alone can transform the dynamic of the conversation. Asterisk, asterisk, you move from two people exchanging words to two people genuinely connecting. Listening doesn't mean you have to agree with everything the other person says. In fact, some of the most powerful conversations happen when there's disagreement because it challenges both parties to think deeper, to examine their beliefs, and to grow. But when you listen with an open heart, you show that you respect the other person's perspective, even if it's different from your own. Asterisk, asterisk, listening is about validating their voice, not necessarily their views. Asterisk, asterisk, it's about recognizing that their experiences and opinions are valid and that their story matters. When you create a space where the other person feels heard, you invite them into a place of safety and mutual respect, where vulnerability can thrive. Now, I want you to think about what happens when someone isn't listening to you. How does it feel when you're talking to someone and they're clearly not paying attention? Maybe they're distracted, looking around, or worse, interrupting every few seconds. It creates distance. It's disorienting. You start to wonder, asterisk, do they really care? Asterisk, 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 when you don't listen, you send a message that the other person doesn't matter. Asterisk, asterisk, and that's the danger. The lack of listening can erode trust, creating walls between you and the other person. It can make the conversation feel shallow, like a game where neither party is truly invested in the outcome. And we all know how exhausting it is to talk to someone who isn't truly listening. One of the most powerful tools you can use in any conversation is listening with empathy. Empathy isn't just about understanding someone's words. It's about feeling their emotions, sensing their needs, and tuning into the unspoken elements of the conversation. Empathetic listening allows you to connect on a deeper level. It's the difference between hearing "I'm fine" and recognizing that something is wrong beneath the surface. When you listen empathetically, you acknowledge the full scope of what the other person is experiencing. You create a space where they feel seen, heard, and understood on a level that goes beyond mere words. That's how real connection is built, not through what you say, but through how deeply you listen and respond. You may think that to have a meaningful conversation, you need to have the perfect words ready to go. You think you need to respond with just the right thing, and if you don't, then you risk making things awkward, or worse, losing connection. But I want you to stop right there and think about this. Listening is the most important part of communication. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you hear. So often, we focus so much on having the right response that we forget the most important element of any conversation: understanding. When you listen with intention, when you truly hear the other person, not just their words but the meaning behind them, you create the foundation for a real connection. And when you do that, everything else falls into place. Listening is an active process. It requires your presence. Being truly present in a conversation means you are giving the other person the gift of your full attention. Too often, we're distracted by our phones, by the thoughts racing through our heads, or by the urge to interject and prove a point. But true listening isn't about hearing words. It's about understanding the person speaking. It's about being fully attuned to what they are trying to communicate, whether it's through their words, their tone, their body language, or their silence. When you're actively listening, you're not waiting for your turn to speak. You're giving your complete focus to the other person. And when they feel that, it opens the door for something deeper to unfold. Think about the last time someone really listened to you, not just heard you, but really listened, How did it feel? I can tell you, it probably felt like a weight had been lifted. Like for a moment, you didn't have to fight to be understood. That's the power of true listening. It's not about waiting for your chance to respond or make a witty remark. It's about giving someone the space to express themselves freely, knowing they are being heard and valued. When you listen deeply, you acknowledge the other person's experience, and that alone can transform the dynamic of the conversation. You move from two people exchanging words to two people genuinely connecting. Listening doesn't mean you have to agree with everything the other person says. In fact, some of the most powerful conversations happen when there's disagreement, because it challenges both parties to think deeper, to examine their beliefs, and to grow. But when you listen with an open heart, you show that you respect the other person's perspective, even if it's different from your own. Listening is about validating their voice, not necessarily their views. It's about recognizing that their experiences and opinions are valid and that their story matters. When you create a space where the other person feels heard, you invite them into a place of safety and mutual respect, where vulnerability can thrive. Now, I want you to think about what happens when someone isn't listening to you. How does it feel when you're talking to someone and they're clearly not paying attention? Maybe they're distracted, looking around, or worse, interrupting every few seconds. It creates distance. It's disorienting. You start to wonder, do they really care? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. When you don't listen, you send a message that the other person doesn't matter. Asterisk, asterisk, and that's the danger. The lack of listening can erode trust, creating walls between you and the other person. It can make the conversation feel shallow, like a game where neither party is truly invested in the outcome. And we all know how exhausting it is to talk to someone who isn't truly listening. One of the most powerful tools you can use in any conversation is listening with empathy. Empathy isn't just about understanding someone's words. It's about feeling their emotions, sensing their needs, and tuning into the unspoken elements of the conversation. Asterisk, asterisk, empathetic listening allows you to connect on a deeper level. Asterisk, asterisk, it's the difference between hearing "I'm fine" and recognizing that something is wrong beneath the surface. When you listen empathetically, you acknowledge the full scope of what the other person is experiencing. You create a space where they feel seen, heard, and understood on a level that goes beyond mere words. That's how real connection is built, not through what you say, but through how deeply you listen and respond. In every conversation, there is an undeniable power in seeing the person in front of you, not as an object to be interacted with, but as a full, multi-dimensional human being. The world too often tries to reduce us to labels, to stereotypes, to simplified versions of ourselves that fit into neat boxes. But asterisk, asterisk, when you truly see someone, when you acknowledge their humanity, asterisk, asterisk, you open the door to genuine connection. Asterisk, asterisk, seeing someone as a whole person means embracing everything about them, their flaws, their strengths, their complexities, and their uniqueness, asterisk, asterisk. It's a powerful act of recognition that goes beyond superficial understanding and touches the very core of who they are. One of the most transformative aspects of truly seeing another person is the recognition that we are all more than our roles or appearances. We all have experiences, stories, and histories that shape who we are. When you see a woman not just as a woman, but as a person with her own journey, you begin to engage with her on a much deeper level. Asterisk, asterisk, seeing someone fully means understanding that their life, their experiences, and their struggles are real and valid, asterisk, asterisk. This acknowledgement creates a sense of dignity and respect. It says, I see you as more than just a label. I see you for the complexity and depth that makes you, asterisk, you, asterisk. In many ways, seeing someone for who they truly are is an act of radical empathy. It goes beyond merely hearing their words or acknowledging their existence. Asterisk, asterisk, to see someone is to embrace the fullness of their humanity, asterisk, asterisk. And this means being open to the parts of them that are difficult or uncomfortable. It means recognizing their vulnerabilities and their strengths, their joys and their pains. Too often, we try to compartmentalize others into easily understood categories: the strong, the weak, the confident, the insecure. But real connection comes when we choose to see beyond these surface-level divisions and understand the wholeness of a person. When you see someone in their entirety, you can engage with them in a way that is genuinely transformative. This process of truly seeing someone also involves being able to step back and acknowledge your own biases. We all carry preconceived notions, often shaped by culture, society, or past experiences. Asterisk, asterisk, to truly see another person, you must be willing to examine those biases and let go of the assumptions you've built up, asterisk, asterisk. It means recognizing that someone's worth and identity cannot be reduced to preconceived ideas or stereotypes. When you do this, you create a space where you can approach someone with fresh eyes, with an open mind. You free yourself from the need to fit them into a box and instead allow them to show you who they really are. Asterisk, asterisk, this open-mindedness creates an environment of acceptance where both parties can be real and authentic. Asterisk, asterisk, what happens when we fail to see someone for who they truly are? We reduce them. We place them in a box that's too small, and by doing so, we limit our ability to truly connect with them. Asterisk, asterisk, we treat people like puzzles to be solved, or problems to be fixed, asterisk, asterisk, instead of embracing them as whole, complex individuals. When we don't see someone fully, we often miss the beauty and depth of who they really are. We might only focus on what's easy to understand or comfortable to interact with, leaving the rest of the person, those parts that might be difficult or unfamiliar, unseen and unacknowledged. Asterisk, this leads to shallow interactions and a lack of real connection. Asterisk, in contrast, when we choose to see someone as a full person, we are also choosing to respect them on a deeper level. We recognize that they are not defined by a single story or characteristic. Asterisk, seeing someone fully means seeing them as a whole being, made up of countless moments, choices, experiences, and emotions. Asterisk. This recognition doesn't just enrich our conversations, it also builds a foundation for a stronger, more compassionate connection. When we can see someone's full humanity, we are better able to understand them, support them, and engage with them authentically. This level of understanding doesn't just change the dynamic of the relationship, it transforms it into something meaningful and lasting. Asterisk, it's a reminder that we are all human, all deserving of respect and dignity. Asterisk, respecting someone means understanding that not every moment requires a solution or advice. It's common to feel the urge to fix things when we see someone struggling or facing challenges. But asterisk, the most powerful act of respect in a conversation is offering your presence without the need to solve their problems. Asterisk. Women, like everyone else, don't always need someone to step in and offer a quick fix. What they need, often more than anything, is someone who can simply listen. When you listen without immediately trying to correct or solve, you show that you value the person for who they are, not just for their ability to overcome their struggles. Asterisk, this kind of respect communicates that you trust them to have their own answers and wisdom, and that you're willing to walk alongside them rather than take over their journey. Asterisk, in a world that constantly values productivity and solutions, the act of listening can seem underrated. We're trained to believe that conversation is a transaction, that we must give something in return for what we receive, but real respect arises when we can simply give space. Asterisk, by listening attentively and not rushing to provide solutions, you communicate that you believe in the other person's ability to navigate their own experiences. Asterisk, this doesn't mean that advice or guidance is never needed, but it does mean that, in certain moments, the greatest gift you can give is your undivided attention and an open heart. The truth is, sometimes the best way to help someone isn't through offering answers, but through acknowledging their struggles, validating their feelings, and providing a safe space for them to explore their own thoughts. Listening without judgment also means refraining from labeling someone's situation. Too often, we tend to categorize people based on what we see or hear in their moments of vulnerability. Asterisk, when you respect someone enough to truly listen, you let go of any preconceived notions or judgments about them. Asterisk, this requires being fully present and engaging without rushing to make sense of their experience based on your own filters. Listening without judgment means accepting that someone's feelings or struggles are valid, even if they don't match your expectations or understanding. You begin to see the other person not through your lens, but through theirs, which opens up a deeper connection. This kind of respect is transformative because it honors the person's individuality and complexity without reducing them to a set of behaviors or beliefs that you can easily digest. Another key aspect of respect in conversation is allowing the other person to express themselves fully without interruptions. Asterisk, interrupting someone is a subtle form of disrespect. Asterisk, it sends the message that their words aren't as important as yours or that their ideas need to be fixed. But true respect requires letting someone speak their mind without cutting them off. It means resisting the urge to jump in with your thoughts, opinions, or solutions, and instead creating a space where the other person feels heard. When you allow someone to speak without interruption, you not only give them the freedom to express themselves, but you also show them that their perspective matters, even if it challenges or differs from your own. This creates a dynamic of mutual respect where both parties feel validated and understood. When you respect someone by listening without judgment, by refraining from interrupting, and by offering a safe space for them to speak, you create an environment where vulnerability is welcomed. Vulnerability is the foundation of all meaningful connections. It's only when someone feels safe enough to be vulnerable that they can truly share their thoughts, their fears, and their truths. And it's in this space of mutual vulnerability that the deepest connections are made. Vulnerability requires trust, and trust is built on respect. So when you respect someone's need for space and time to express themselves, you foster an environment where they can drop their guard and engage with you more authentically. This act of honoring someone's vulnerability is one of the most profound ways to show respect. It's a reminder that you see them, not just for what they do or say, but for who they truly are. Finally, to truly respect someone means recognizing their autonomy. Respecting a woman, or anyone for that matter, means recognizing that they are capable of making their own choices and decisions, even when those choices differ from your own beliefs or desires. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we know what's best for others, especially when we care about them. But respect means giving them the space to make decisions on their own terms, to navigate their own paths, and to make mistakes without fear of judgment. This recognition of autonomy doesn't just build trust. It empowers the other person to stand in their own power. When you respect someone's autonomy, you acknowledge that they are the experts of their own lives, and that act of trust is deeply validating. It strengthens the bond of respect and opens up the space for authentic connection to grow. It's time to be real. Talking to women is easier when you're willing to embrace your own vulnerability. Too often, we're taught that vulnerability is a weakness, something to hide or suppress. But let me tell you something. Vulnerability is strength. It's when we are willing to be open, to share the parts of ourselves that we keep hidden, that we create space for true connection. Think about it. When you approach a conversation with openness, when you allow yourself to be seen and heard, you invite the same from the other person. Vulnerability breaks down walls and opens up the possibility for deeper, more authentic conversations. It's in these moments that real growth happens, both for you and the woman you're speaking to. Being vulnerable doesn't mean sharing every intimate detail of your life or overexposing yourself. It's about letting go of the armor you wear to protect yourself from judgment or rejection. It's about showing up with honesty, even in small moments. When you're honest about your own insecurities or fears, you show the other person that it's safe to be open to. Vulnerability isn't about seeking validation from the other person. It's about offering a space where they can feel safe enough to be themselves without fear of judgment. When you create that space, something powerful happens. You start to see the other person more clearly, and they begin to trust you in a way that goes beyond surface-level interaction. When you allow vulnerability into a conversation, you invite emotional honesty. The walls we put up to protect ourselves from vulnerability can often prevent us from experiencing the fullness of human connection. In a conversation where vulnerability is welcomed, there's an unspoken permission to explore deeper, to go beyond the typical pleasantries and really see one another. It's no longer just about exchanging words or opinions. It's about sharing truths. These truths might be uncomfortable, might challenge you or the other person, but they're real, and that's where the magic of real communication begins. Emotional honesty takes courage, but it's the kind of courage that leads to meaningful, life-changing conversations. Now, let's talk about the power of being present. True presence is a gift in today's world, where distractions are constant and attention spans are shorter than ever. When you show up fully in a conversation, when you're not just physically there but emotionally and mentally engaged, you honor the person in front of you. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect or always have the right thing to say. It means that you're genuinely tuned in to the other person, listening to what they're saying and responding from a place of authenticity. Being present is about investing in the moment and letting go of everything else. When you give someone your full attention, you are sending the message that they are worth your time, and that's one of the most powerful forms of respect. Being present in a conversation also means you're open to the unexpected. How often do we go into conversations with a set agenda, with a list of things we want to say or accomplish? We might go into a conversation thinking we know where it's going, but true presence requires that we let go of that control. When you're truly present, you're open to where the conversation leads, to what the other person needs, and to the space for unexpected depth and connection. Presence allows for flexibility. It allows the conversation to evolve naturally without trying to force it into something specific. This openness is what transforms a simple interaction into a meaningful exchange, one that both people will walk away from feeling heard, understood, and connected. Alongside vulnerability and presence, the ability to embrace empathy is what truly makes a conversation powerful. Empathy isn't just about feeling for someone, it's about feeling with them. It's the ability to step into their shoes, to understand not just what they are saying, but how they are feeling in that moment. When you can listen empathetically, you communicate that you care about their emotions, their experiences, and their reality. This kind of empathy allows you to respond in a way that's thoughtful and compassionate. It doesn't mean you have to have all the answers or solve their problems. It means that you're acknowledging their experience as valid and worthy of your attention. Empathy, when fully embraced, creates a bond that transcends words. It's a way of showing someone that you see them, you understand them, and you are willing to be there, even in the hard moments. Empathy creates space for emotional truth and lets the other person know they are not alone in their feelings. It also softens the conversation, making it easier for both parties to express themselves without fear of judgment. By practicing empathy, you foster an environment where both you and the woman you're speaking to can share openly and connect on a deeper level, without the fear of being misunderstood. It's an invitation to be real, to be vulnerable, and to meet each other as equals, without the barriers that typically divide us. When it comes to communication, authenticity is the foundation that holds everything together. Being authentic means showing up as yourself, unfiltered, real, and unapologetically who you are. Too often, we wear masks to fit in or conform to expectations, especially when we're trying to impress or connect with someone. But here's the thing, authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to realness because it creates a sense of safety and trust. When you let go of pretenses and show up as your true self, you invite the other person to do the same. Authenticity isn't just about being honest about what you feel. It's about embodying your truth in everything you say and do, which builds an immediate sense of connection. The power of authenticity lies in its vulnerability. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable and real, you give permission for others to do the same. It's easy to hide behind a facade, to pretend that everything is fine or that we've got it all together. But when you choose to speak openly about your struggles, your fears, and your hopes, It opens a door for the other person to connect with you on a deeper level. Authenticity creates an environment where vulnerability isn't something to be ashamed of, but is welcomed and accepted. It's in these raw, unfiltered moments that real bonds are forged, where you stop performing and start living honestly in each interaction. In our fast-paced, superficial world, it's easy to fall into the trap of shallow exchanges. We often skim the surface, talking about trivial matters instead of diving into what truly matters. But authenticity demands that we engage with what is real and meaningful. When you are authentic, you engage in conversations that are deep and substantive. You're no longer concerned with appearances or impressing the other person. You're focused on the quality of the connection. You're giving the other person permission to be real and open, too. This is where true connection happens. When you stop trying to be someone you're not, and you start building a conversation based on who you really are. One of the hardest aspects of authenticity is embracing imperfection. We all have flaws, quirks, and moments where we fall short of expectations. But authenticity isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest about our imperfections and allowing others to see the whole picture. When you hide the parts of yourself that aren't perfect, you inadvertently distance yourself from others. You create an image that people can admire but not relate to. Authenticity means accepting your own humanity, embracing the parts of yourself that aren't polished or flawless, and showing up with that same acceptance in your interactions. It's through accepting our imperfections that we make others feel comfortable enough to show their own. Another critical aspect of authenticity is consistency. True authenticity isn't about showing a different face to each person you meet. It's about being the same person, no matter the situation. When your words, actions, and beliefs align, you create a sense of trust and reliability. People are drawn to those who are consistent because they know they can count on them to be the same, regardless of the context. Authenticity requires a deep commitment to being true to yourself, whether you're with close friends, strangers, or someone you're just meeting. It's this unwavering consistency that makes your interactions feel grounded and real, because the person in front of you knows exactly who they are engaging with. At the heart of authenticity is the courage to be seen. In a world that often values perfection and polished appearances, the courage to be authentic requires a willingness to be vulnerable and visible. It's easy to hide behind social media personas or curated identities, but authentic communication requires you to show up, flaws and all. When you let go of the fear of being judged and show up as your true self, you invite others to do the same. This creates an environment of mutual respect and openness where both parties can communicate from a place of trust and understanding. Being authentically you isn't about seeking approval. It's about embracing who you are and inviting the other person to do the same. So, let me leave you with this. Talking to women, or to anyone for that matter, isn't about performing, impressing, or pretending. It's about showing up as your true self, embracing vulnerability, and creating a space where genuine connection can thrive. The power of an authentic conversation, one where you listen, engage, and truly see the other person, is transformative. When you let go of the need to be perfect, when you step into vulnerability with confidence, and when you choose to meet others as equals, the possibilities for connection are endless. At the end of the day, communication is not about what you say, but how you make the other person feel. And that starts with being real, being present, and being unapologetically you.